Hina dolls are incredibly special in Japan, and when visiting the country and finding an exhibition all about their history, it was a complete honour to see so many on display. Hi, my name's Charlotte and welcome to my art studio in Wiltshire here in the UK. And this week is the last week that I share with you some of my adventures in Japan. This week you are coming with me to the Kyrocera Art Gallery in Kyoto. Within this gallery, I specifically visited two exhibitions, one of which was the collection room for winter. The collection room for winter was having a special display, and this display was the world of Ohina-sama and Japanese dolls, journeying through the seasons with paintings. So not only were there huge paintings often painted on silk, however there were also a very large collection, often private collection, of Hina dolls. So if you've been to an art gallery before anywhere in the world, there are usually some paintings or sculptures, some pieces of artwork that have a no photo sign. And this was the whole exhibition, bar a few pieces. And this is usually because the pieces are actually owned by private collectors. So private collectors don't want everyone taking photos of their beautiful artwork that they personally own. It is instead loaned out to the gallery for certain exhibitions or time periods, or sometimes indefinitely, because they are public, they're artworks that the public want to see, or they are fantastic in a certain exhibition. And this is what happened in the winter room for the Hina dolls exhibition. Let me read you what the exhibition's all about. This exhibition showcases the elegant dolls of Marui Oki, and I apologise if I've brutalised that name. They're a doll maker founded in Tokyo during the Meiwa era in the Edo period, displayed alongside paintings depicting Goseku, the 5 seasonal festivals, and other seasonal events. Marui has a long doll-making tradition rich in exquisite craftsmanship, from costumes through to furnishings, based on the customs of the imperial court. Focusing on Hina dolls, which have been loved by the imperial household and other important families, and comprising Gosho dolls, Isho dolls, Ichimatsu dolls, and other dolls unique to Marui displayed alongside the works of modern painters from the collection. This exhibition will reflect on the enduring beauty of tradition in Kyoto. And honestly, it was beautiful. As explained, I couldn't take many photos. However, the importance of knowing where these dolls came from and the paintings that were matched with them within this space was truly exquisite. It's something that I didn't purposely go to see. It was actually another exhibition and the space as a whole that I wanted to visit. However, this was definitely a gallery that took pride in its work, having everything from these collections in glass cases to make sure that they were in the kind of environment that they should be kept in, as well as to keep them safe from hands, because they were all at people level. The detail and the how do I explain it? The detail of the people, the furnishings, the way that they are displayed, each one, you know, has been intricately placed in this space, and as a whole, the exhibition was beautifully curated. However, at the Kyrocera Art Gallery, I was also there to see another set of artworks. And this was a collection of artworks that's avant-garde. So when we speak about avant-garde, especially in the art world, we are talking about the innovation of new techniques in creating artwork. And this exhibition was partly for and partly against avant-garde. So there were several movements that occurred in Kyoto, which is very much based in the arts, that surrounded themselves with the traditional nature of artwork and the traditional nature of creating. Whereas some collectors and some collections of artists completely went against that and wanted avant-garde to take over the world. So this exhibition was really interesting, in which the way these manifestos and these pieces were created within this quite turmoiled time of the art world. So in this exhibition, I was allowed to take photos, but not videos. So I'm going to tell you the story of what happened through the chapters that were displayed as part of the exhibition. And along the way, I will allow you to view the artworks that were being displayed as part of each chapter. So follow along for the story of Kyoto's avant-garde period. Forward. Kyoto developed as a cultural centre that led the evolution of modern Nihonga, Japanese-style painting, and served as the foundation for the production of many distinguished Nihonga artists. However, after 1945, in the post-war climate of reflecting on the former regime, criticism towards the traditional art form of Nihonga began to intensify. In reaction against established authorities and institutional structures, some even argued that Nihonga already belongs to the past and is destined to perish. Thus, a strong headwind began to blow against Nihonga in post-war Japan. In this context, the movement of avant-garde Nihonga, which reflected critically on the traditional frameworks of Nihonga and sought innovation, grew increasingly active in Kyoto, promising young artists who were shaping the new era of post-war Japan became its central figures and formed numerous aspirational art groups. Being based in Kyoto, a major centre of artistic production, these artists were able to criticise the outdated conventions of Nihonga in its domain and demonstrate the underlying strength to envision the future of the genre. The Kyoto City Technical School of Painting, which is today's Kyoto City University of Arts, also served as a hub connecting Nihonga painters of the same generation and became the foundation for avant-garde movements. Finally, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to all the owners who kindly lent their valuable works to this exhibition, as well as everyone involved who offered their generous cooperation. Chapter 1. In 1948, as Japan was searching for its place in the new era following the Second World War, a new and innovative Nihonga, Japanese-style painting art group called Sozo Bitsu announced its establishment and held its opening ceremony in Tokyo. Gathering artists from Kyoto and Tokyo, 13 artists became its founding members. The group expressed its determination to ensure the creation of Nihonga grounded in universality. The members included 7 artists from Kyoto and 6 artists from Tokyo. Driven by a desire to foster an environment in which creativity could remain free and pure, the artists severed ties with established organisations and distanced themselves from entrenched systems. They declared their intent to hold their own exhibitions and to collaborate on research within the group. This became a bold stance against dominant institutions such as the government-sponsored Niton exhibition and the long-standing art schools of Kyoto, and the group's formation caused a sensation among the public. Journalist Inuyatsushi, who covered the news at the time, later wrote it was beautiful to watch the exciting formation of a new group of young and ambitious artists. The group's formation was shaped by the social climate of the time, when theories predicting the extinction of Nihonga were circulating and the criticism of traditional Nihonga as a legacy of the old regime was intensifying. Amid growing expectations for a new form of Nihonga suited to a new era, the idea of forming a new group emerged among artists such as Fukura Toyoshiro and Yoshika Kenji, who were both active in the art group Shin Bizutsushin Yokai, founded in 1938, which had pursued the avant-garde expressions in Nihonga since before the war, as well as Yamamoto Kojin and Yumera Shoko, who questioned the judging system of the government-sponsored exhibitions. In Kyoto, artists centered around Yumera Shoko were assembled, joined by highly motivated painters from Nishiyama Shishuko's private school, Shokosha, along with Kikuchi Takashi, a student of Kikuchi Kaijetsu's private art school. The open exhibition of the first Sozo Buzitsu exhibition was held in venues in Tokyo, Kyoto and Osaka, and gathered momentum, receiving over 50 applications from young artists of Tokyo. This exhibition became one of the starting points of the post-war Kyoto art scene, which challenged established expressions by exploring unique colours and forms. The Sojo Bijutsu exhibition was held 3 times, and after merging with the the Shin Seizaku Art Society in 1951, they continued to hold the exhibitions as the painting department of the Shin Seizaku Art Society. Chapter 2. The Dawn of Avant-Garde Nihonga. Before the formation of the Sozo Bijutsu group, the challenge of creating avant-garde expressions in Nihonga already begun during the war in Kyoto. Avant-garde expressions influenced by European avant-garde movements such as Surrealism were spreading by the 1930s in the field of Kyoto's Western-style painting. At the same time, ambitious study groups of Nihonga, which had different approaches in the government-sponsored exhibitions of Kanten and Inten, established during this period and pursued explorations in avant-garde expressions. Led by central figures of Yoshioka Kenji and Fukuda Toyoshiro, an art group called Shin Nihonga Kenyukai was founded in 1934, advocating for hope towards new paintings. Although the art group was based in Tokyo, their experimental stance inspired young artists of the Kyoto art scene and gained new artists who wished to join. Yamaoka Ryobun was a founding member who studied at the Kyoto City Technical School of Painting, commonly known as Kaizen, and played a major role, reaching out to his junior students. With students at Kaizen joining the group such as Tajuki Sakan, Nishigai Koichi, and Yamazaki Takashi, the group consequently became highly active in Kyoto as well, holding exhibitions in places such as Damaru in Kyoto. The Shin Nihonga Kenjukai remained active through its 3rd exhibition in 1937 and was renamed Shin Bijutsushin Kyokai the following year. Yoshioka and Fukuda continued to play central roles, but around this time, several participating artists withdrew and moved towards forming a new organisation. This was the Rekite Art Association, established in 1938. The group was a study association that declared an interest in surrealism and avant-garde, abstract art, and the consciousness towards reflection and renewal, demonstrating more refined avant-garde characteristics. The activities of Yoshioka and Fukuda, who led the Shin Bichu Sujin Koyokai, ultimately led to the later formation of Sozo Bichutsu in 1948. Meanwhile, Yamakazai, who had been a central figure for the Rekite Art Association, went on to form the Pan-Real Art Association in 1949 with his junior colleague at Kaizen, Mikami Makoto. This chapter introduces works by the artists who participated in these pre-war study groups, which serves as a seed for the rise of post-war avant-garde. Chapter 3. The Pan-Real Art Association Tearing Down the Hotbed. The Pan-Real Art Association was an avant-garde Nihonga art group, which established in 1949. Its predecessor was Pan-Real, which was organised in the previous year, March of 1948. The group's leading figures were Yamakaze Takashai and Mikami Makoto. Yamakaze was a young painter aged 32 who graduated Kaizen and had just been demobilised from the Pacific War. Mikami also graduated from Kaizen and had just returned to Kyoto at the age of 29 from his hometown of Fuki Prefecture, where he was under medical care. Before the war, Yamakaze was active at Rekite Art Association, but with the group already dissolved, he searched for a new environment where he could present his works. On the other hand, Mikami was invited to join Sozubitsu from Yumera Shoko, who at the time was an instructor at Kaizen, which Mikami firmly refused due to feelings of general misalignment, and was looking for an entirely different method of creating Nihonga, other than the conventional apprenticeship. This condition led Yamakaze and Mikami to start something new. At first, the two made efforts to re-establish Rekite Art Association, but was unsuccessful, and moved towards forming a new group based in Kyoto. While Mikami reached out to his junior students at Kaizen, such as Hoshino Shingo and Furo Shigewa, Yamakaze made contacts with former members of Rekite Art Association, such as Yagai Keizu. From these series of incidents, the first group of Pan-Real was established by 8 members in 1948. Including Nihonga artists, Western-style painters, and ceramic artworks. Mikami came up with the general group name Pan, which comes from the Japanese word pan, meaning general or universal, and as the name suggests, it was a group that aimed for a broad sense of realism, including abstract art. Their exhibition was held at Maruzen Kyoto Gallery during the same year in May. While the group set sail triumphantly, Yagi and Suzuki left Pan-Real later on, along with the foundation of the ceramic art group, Sodoisha. This incident led Pan-Real to reorganise as a Nihonga study group and gathered members such exclusive to Nihonga. With recommendations from Hoshino, Kaizen graduates such as Ono Hidekata and Shimomura Rionsuke joined, and the group was renamed as Pan-Real Arts Association in May of 1949. Their first exhibition was held at the Fuji Daimaru in Kyoto. The group declared their Pan-Real manifesto at their first exhibition, which used provocative words such as, "We in this declaration gouge out the eyes of conservative anachronisms of Nigono painting circles, tear down the hotbed, trample underfoot sentimentality," which criticised old regimes and established concepts. From their pursuit of realism, which referenced Western thought, and through vigorous studies of new subject matters of painting, the group ushered in a new phase into the world of post-war Nihonga. Chapter 4. Cellar Art Association. Paintings of the Space Age. In December 1959, 10 years after the establishment of the Pan-Real Art Association, an inspiring art group called the Cellar Art Association was formed. While the Pan-Real Art Association reached its peak around 1960, Cellar emerged as a new movement led by a much younger generation of artists, inspired by the activities of its predecessor. The Cellar Art Association sought to pursue free forms of expression and to rebel against the authority of established systems. Its founding members were 13 in total, with graduates from the painting department of the Kyoto City University of Fine Arts, as well as those who studied Nihonga in the advanced painting course at Kyoto University of Education. As the name cellar, derived from the Latin word for cell, suggests, the group aspired for its movement to divide and expand, gaining the sympathy and support of people everywhere. Among the members, 12 artists, excluding Nakao, who exhibited at the Nitten, had originally been promising young painters who used the Nihonga section of the Shinsaisaku Art Society as their primary venue for presentation. Over time, however, dissatisfaction with its feudalistic jury system and a growing desire for innovative painting led them to withdraw from the association. In an act of open defiance, they came to champion what they called the avant-garde of painting. The manifesto issued at the time of the group's founding begins with the declaration, "The 20th century is the age of space. From the perspective of the cosmos, conflicts on Earth are no more than a quarrel between husband and wife." Through this statement, the group expressed its resolve to challenge the entrenched conventions of the art world, which it regarded as trivial when seen from a broader perspective, and to overcome them through passion. They sought to achieve this by engaging in rebellious acts of creation, producing truly unique painting, unconstrained by existing styles. The first Cellar Art Association exhibition was held in 1960 at the Kyoto Municipal Museum of Art. It was a large-scale exhibition in which each member presented 20 to 30 monumental works over 1.6 metres or 5.2 feet in scale. The materials used extended beyond traditional Nihonga pigments to include oil paint, enamel paint, clay, plaster and fabric. These innovative works caused a sensation in Japan and were also highly praised by American collectors visiting the country at the time, with several works purchased and taken overseas. Thereafter, cellar exhibitions were held 2 to 3 times a year and continued until the 10th exhibition in 1963. The following year, prompted by the departure of Iwata and Kusada for the United States, the association was dissolved, bringing its brief but intense 5-year history to a close. Chapter 5. Echoes of Abstraction. Beyond the Bounds of Nihonga. Defining what constitutes as abstract work in Nihonga is not straightforward. However, in the post-war period, works based on the idea of abstraction began to increase. These works approached abstraction as a way of extracting the essential nature of things from concrete subjects, and shifted towards non-figurative, pure expression by simplifying or transforming natural forms. In the field of Nihonga, European avant-garde movements that had been suppressed during the late wartime years under nationalist tendencies regained influence after the war, and Kyoto saw the emergence of works with a growing awareness of abstraction. The intellectual practice of organising elements such as circles, planes and lines, and composing them on the pictorial surface also came to be regarded as something suited to a new era. This chapter introduces various forms of abstraction and presents one of the culminating points in the lineage of modern Nihonga. The forerunners of post-war abstraction, Maruki-iri, Iwahashi Ain, and Funada Gyokuji, were all active in Tokyo and were members of the Reiteki Art Association. Founded in 1938 as an offshoot of the Shin Nihonga Kenju Kai, the association embraced experimental works informed by serialism and abstract art. The three produced works that drew on themes such as animals and natural landscapes, while boldly employing deformation. Although all three withdrew from the association soon after, each continued to pursue innovation in artistic expression in the post-war years. From the late 1950s through to the 1960s, as groups such as Sozo Bijutsu, the Pan-Real Art Association, and the Cellar Art Association were gaining momentum, abstraction in Nihonga also became a topic of interest within Niton and various painting schools. Leading this movement were Domoto Insho, Kodama Kibo, and Sugiyama Yasushi. Domoto, who travelled to Europe in 1952 to study Western modes of expression, subsequently painted and presented many abstract works in Niton, including Unhindered in 1958, which features a geometric arrangement of coloured planes. Kodama exhibited his first painting, Road, at Niton in 1959, and Sugiyama likewise began exploring abstraction around the same time. The fact that these highly esteemed, academically affiliated artists embraced abstraction and began depicting conceptual themes reflected the broader cultural climate of the era and attracted considerable attention throughout the Nihonga community.